What's up, everybody? This video today is on error coins. These are a few that I've found and a few to keep your eyes open for. You see here with this 1953 wheat where it says Liberty on the left, your B in Liberty is filled in. You'll see the same thing with this 1957 wheat. And then I actually have a second 1957 where it's the same thing. You also want to watch out for mint mark errors. You see with this quarter on the bottom right, our mint mark is filled in. Then you see the same thing at the center bottom on this 1980 Kennedy. You might have some of these lying around or not even know it. It's definitely worth keeping your eyes open and maybe giving that change drawer another glance. What's up, everybody? Today we're looking at a few different error coins. You see here on this 1941 wheat at the bottom right where there's a clip error. If we take a look at these Kennedys, generally you'll see an FG right there under the eagle. On this one at the bottom we seem to have a grease error to where that FG is just barely visible. It was listed as ghost-like. This wheat penny here, you see a pretty dramatic lamination error going up and down the center of the coin, kind of at an angle, right through there. Then possibly my favorite is the die chip error on this Kennedy half dollar, to where you see in that Y where it kind of just extends. Pretty cool. What's going on, everybody? We have a few new error coins for you. First up, we have a 1946S grease error, which you'll also see listed as a weak strike error sometimes. You can see it right there at the end of the year, and on the top right at the end of trust, where it's just barely there. We also have a similar circumstance with this 1976D grease error, where you can see when that's 6, and the last T in trust, it's just very faint. Possibly my favorite out of this bunch is this date error Indian had sent, to where you can't tell what year it is, but you can definitely see where it should have been or used to be. And finally, we have this 1995 off-center Lincoln cent. You won't usually see off-center coins this dramatic, but there are a lot of them out there. Definitely something to keep your eyes open and be on the lookout for. What's going on, everybody? We have a few new error coins for you. First up, we have a 1926D, to where it's kind of hard to see at the top, but there's doubling, and in God we trust. Got to get just the right angle to see it. Next up, we have a 2015 P nickel, to where on the reverse where it says Monticello, the O at the end is filled in. I thought that was pretty neat because I have never seen anything like that before. Next up, we have the most off-center coin that I've ever seen. I'm not convinced this thing's real, but I still thought it was pretty cool. No date visible. And finally, we have a 1971D Kennedy half dollar with a die break on the T in Liberty. You see it just right in there. What's going on, everybody? We have a few new error coins for you. First up, we have a 1971 Kennedy with a pretty nice die break on the Y in Liberty. You see that just kind of extends out there and touches the rim of the coin. We also have a pretty nice die break on this 96 Kennedy. This one is a rim to collar break. You'll see this on a lot of 96s, but the more I look around, you see it on a lot of Kennedys in general. So it's definitely something to keep your eyes open for. On the reverse of these, they're all supposed to have this FG on the bottom right under the eagle. We've talked about this before, but not all of these do. Right now we have 2 new ones that do not. So definitely check that out. Keep your eyes open for these. I'd hold on to your Kennedys. It might look like 50 cents, but with the right errors, you can add a few zeros onto that real fast. What's going on, everybody? We have a few new error coins for you. First up, we have a 1998 Kennedy half dollar. This one has an error that we've seen before, the rim to collar die break. It's a little more faint this time, but since it's on a 98 as well, all the more reason to be on the lookout for that error. Next, we have a 1946 wheat penny with a real nice lamination error. You'll see this goes from the rim all the way down through Lincoln's face. And finally, we have a 1977 Kennedy. This one's pretty cool because you'll see coming from the rim, we have a die break, and it goes into a die chip. It's kind of two errors, one coin. What's going on, everybody? We have a few new error coins for you. First up, we have a 1985 D Lincoln cent with a nice die gouge on the reverse. Notice with the die gouge is how they'll run behind the design. Next up, we have a 1958 D wheat penny, which is almost uncirculated. This one with the error on Lincoln's face, almost giving him kind of a zombie-like appearance. And finally, we have a 1984 Lincoln cent. Again, with a nice lamination error, this one, rim to rim. What's going on, everybody? We have a few new error coins for you. First up, we have a 1973 Kennedy with a nice die break on the Y. You notice on this first coin how it's on this side of the Y. We also have a 1971 Kennedy to where it's on the other side, so I want to be on the lookout for both of those. Something that I see less often, but I thought was pretty cool. You notice on the L on Liberty here, there's also a nice die break on that on this quarter. Less common to see it on quarters from my experience, but also something to look out for. And finally, we have a nickel here to where you'll notice on States, there's a real nice die chip. You'll see it in particular on that E, but there's also a little bit on the bottom of that T as well. Pretty cool. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing well today. This video is a few reasons to hold on to this coin, the Washington crossing the Delaware quarter. Now, I hear a lot of people talking about different possible error varieties with this coin, all of which could fetch you some good cash. But what I don't hear people say is how they're actually littered with errors. One popular one is the die chip at the top of Washington's hat. But we also have a die break going horizontally around his waistline. We have another die chip just under his right hand. And then what looks to be vertical die breaks as well. We have that in two different spots. These coins are still very much in circulation. I would definitely keep your eyes open and definitely check your change drawers. You might have one already and not even know it. What's going on, everybody? We have a few new error coins for you. First up, we have a 2022 piece Sally Ride quarter. These are pretty interesting because they're still real new. There's a lot in circulation, and you can definitely get your hands on some. The error here is that there's a small die chip at the corner of Washington's mouth, which gives it kind of a drool appearance. So they call these Sally Ride drool quarters. Next up, and my favorite of the bunch, is this 1997 D Lincoln cent with these real nice die chips on the obverse. You usually don't see them that big, so that's pretty awesome. And finally, we have a 1955 P wheat penny with a nice lamination error on the reverse. It's not too extreme, but definitely pretty cool and worth being on the lookout for.